So welcome to the second session for virtual lab. So already I have given you a continuous set of instructions in the regular last week sessions. In the last week we have discussed about 6 to 7 exercises. This week we'll continue with that explanations and other orientation. So I need some response from the crowd stating that, say, what is the progress of your observation and record? Any one of you, two of you, three of you, how many of you want to speak? You can speak. Wow, what have you done? Have you completed any progress? You can open up your mic and speak, or else you can type it in the chat box. Yes, you can start your record also, Sujita. No need to wait for any instructions. Just you are going to type in the MS Word. That's all. Yes. Other students, see these chat messages are in recording, right? So kindly put your notification what you did. All the students, kindly type your status. It would be honest. Still, if you are not started, you can type, "Sir, I have not started." No issues. We are not going to compare one student with the other student. That depend upon the orientation. It's enough, Sujita, that you can have it, right? Once we will get into normalcy, that you can take print of the contents, what you have typed in MS Word, that you can submit it as a record. No need to write further. Just to do a single word. Do an experiment daily basis. No need to do it cumulatively on a single day, right? So that will be a tough job for you. Even you are loaded with assignments, etc., in all the subjects. So we don't want to push you, right? Do it on your own pace, but at least complete one experiment on daily basis. That will be very clear. So during the time of examination, you won't feel something hard to handle. That's the reason why we are suggesting you these things, right? So if you are in the normalcy stage, means that we could able to meet regularly, and we could able to insist you, and we could able to help you on a one-to-one fashion, right? So but due to this pandemic we are being like this, so it's your responsibility to take care of and moving forward, right? If you have any issues on executing any experiments, even I am very happy to convey that even from the department of EEE, around 4 to 5 students have chat with us during the conversation and made us that they have some errors while they are going to execute in Eclipse, right? So Eclipse is the platform where it's advisable to work in that, because all the campus interview tech platforms are being completely focused on Eclipse only. So if you are using online compilers, no issues. But the thing is, once you start practicing from second year, that you could able to work with your complete campus interview questions in a easier way. That's the reason why we suggest you to work with the IBM Eclipse, right? So that's the major case here. Okay. So again, I'll be telling students do one exercise on daily basis. I'll be talking about the today's experiments also. I request all the students to type your status in the chat, right? So we need that, because we have to document and give, because how many students could not be able to complete? How can we help them? We are not going to raise any complaint, or we are not going to take any action, because in what way that we could able to help you, that we could able to call you, and we might help you in some other fashion. If you don't have laptop or a desktop, what could be the alternate way that you can do? So we are going to help you, right? For the case only, we are asking you to make your type. And if you don't have any laptop or desktop, you can convey it in the chat itself. That will be helpful for us to, okay, so how can we give that work in some other way, so that we could be able to think. So that could be the major case that we will be taking care of it. Don't worry about that. But the thing is, it's not a task, right? You are learning and you are moving forward. Don't convey for the shake, right? So that's the thing. We want to stress it up on that, right? Okay. So and this could be the syllabus that we are covering with it. I think already I have given orientation for you up to program number 7, program number 8, right? I think the current assignment will help you to solve this problem also. Okay, because there only the logic that you are going to do. I think you could able to come across the addition of two numbers, Fibonacci series, and the prime number generation, that you are going to do that. That is the main logic. But only what is the content? You are going to read the input from the user. Instead of reading input from the user, you are going to read the input from the file. Okay, already you create a file, input.txt. From the file you are going to take the data. The data will be passed into the logic where the program resides. For example, 1.java. So within that file, that program will input.txt will be called. Data will be received from the as a stream, right? So by the stream, the data will be converted into the corresponding character. It will be typecasted as a number. Then it will be added. Finally, I will get a result. That number will be converted into a character. That character will be written into the stream. That stream will drop the result into a result.txt into the file. That's all. A very simple assignment that you could be able to keep it forward. The same thing only, but along with that, here they want to display you some of the file parameters, right? So if you are going to give your file name, that it is ready to check that whether that file exists or not. Is file exists or not. So file is readable or writable. They are ready to analyze the parameters for the file, right? You have some 6 to 7 methods are available to identify the parameters of the file. Just browse it. That will give you the methods. All these methods will give you, for example, is file exists. It will return Boolean value, true or false. If file exists, it is ready to give true value. If not, it is going to give you the false value. So readable, writable, they are ready to give you the codes, right? So that parameter could be, you could able to find it out. If it is a read, you have a code. If it is a write permission, you have a code. If you want to append, you have a code. That code value will be returned, right? That could be returned as an integer only. Type of the file, right? That nothing but the extension of the file that you can get it over from the built-in methods available, as well as length of the file in bytes, nothing but the size, right? So that you could able to find it in, you have the methods. So using 4 built-in methods, you could be able to find it out very easily, right? The only thing what you have to incorporate, whether the file is available or not. You have to perform a search mechanism, right? That's also being available. That if this exists, that will help you whether the file is available in C drive or D drive. You have to give the absolute location, right? You should not give the relative location. For example, you have stored d:/rit/1.txt. You have stored a file like this. So in that way, you have to give the complete file location. You should not simply give 1.txt. You have to give the complete location, d:/rit/1.txt. The complete location that you have to give, right? Then that search could be more easier. That's a concern about that. That could be that Java program could be ready to simulate the nothing but a system application wise fashion, right? So that would be more useful when you are going to incorporate these types of features in mobile apps. That could be the thing. See, this is the basic one I am making you to convey, right? So you can move forward with this exercise. In You can move forward with this exercise, right? So you could able to search for any virus files, or you could be able to search for categorized files. Search only docs, search only XLS, search only PDF, search only JPEG. Likewise, you can categorize your own search here, right? The further expansions of this program, that's up to your creativity, that what you can do, right? So those programs will make us to differ, that what you are thinking in some other way. This is what the people looking for you in the campus interviews. What is the basic requirement you have you completed the basic requirement given? Very good. Apart from the basic requirement, what you have did, so that has been identified using your creativity. So for every lab exercise that you are doing, first complete the basic requirement given in the syllabus, plus add up your own creativity, right? At least it would not be some 100 lines of code. Make it at least 10 lines of code through your creativity, right? So that could be the thing that we are expecting from you on all lab exercises. Put over on it. Just now I have conveyed you on the file, right? That it is ready to. For example, I am going to give the input as a directory. How it will differentiate file with a directory, right? You have some commands are there. So you have entered the directory. Enter only file name. Likewise, you can generate an exception also here, right? So what are all the concepts that you have already learned that can be incorporated in very easier fashion, right? The application knowledge has to come here. Application means we are not going to make any application using Java. Application of OOPS concepts in all the exercises. Application of concepts, whatever you have learned, that can be incorporated and packed. In the second stage, you have to think of that whether if we are going to integrate this concept, whether this program is optimized or not. That means within the lesser time it will get to execute and will give us the output. It will occupy only less number of space in the RAM. So such type of things has to be analyzed by you while you are going to work with your creativity. That's also a point that you have to note it down, right? So further you could be able to expand these things. Now you are learning your GUI, right? GUI part you have started to learn. Readability, right? Probably swing event handling, up to event handling that we have covered. Tomorrow by Monday that we will insert our swing also, right? So in that cases, you have started learning your GUI component of Java. So you can design a text box. Sorry, you can design a window. In that window, you could able to create a text box, type the file name, create a command button. In the command button, create a search label, right? I could able to give the label. So I'm going to click that command button. It will search and convey these parameters, right? These parameters, every parameter in some different colors, every parameter in some different fonts. So likewise, you could able to customize that exercise in a full-fledged way. There is no restriction on this. You have to do in this way only, right? There won't be any restriction. Do it on your own pace. You have to first complete the basic requirements, then you have to build up your creativity and your expansion, what you can do further on the program. That matters a lot, right? That's what where computer science engineering will differ from other segments, right? That's the major thing. And and the next program you could have come across that multi-threading. That's a very interesting one. That single program will combine all the concepts what you will study in Java, right? So what they are ready to ask, they ask you to create 3 threads. You know how to create the threads, right? So either you could be able to use thread class or runnable interface. Using any one of these concepts, you can create 3 threads. If you are going to give a thread class name, thread object name equal to new thread, that using that object name, we are going to put start. Ultimately, the the corresponding thread will be started. Likewise, you have to create 3 objects, right? Why they have asked us to create three threads? That will come in the second section. First thread generates a random integer. So what we have to do, and also they have given for every 1 second. What does it mean? You have to incorporate the sleep method here, right? The sleep method you have to pass us 1 second, because within the thing, when the next thread could be able to execute and it has to come over on that. So it has to generate a random integer. For generating a random integer, you are having lot of built-in functions are available in Java. In the util package, you have some methods are available for generating random integer through that. See, first thread, that means what does it mean? You are going to write one run method. Within the run method, this logic will be there. Within a class, you have a class A. Within the class A, there is a run method. Within that run method, you are having the logic. What is the logic? That you are going to generate a random integer, right, for every 1 second. And also they are ready to connect with the subsequent thread. See that? Connect with the subsequent thread. If the value is even, right? The value is even. Second thread computes the square of the number and prints, right? Second thread computes the square of the number and prints. So this could be the next run method that you could be able to cascade with the subsequent class B. So within that you could be able to write. Okay. And the third thread, what it is going to print? It is going to come for the cube. So you will get the input from the first thread. First thread to second thread or first thread to third thread. First thread will generate only the random integer and it is going to come to a conclusion. The generated random integer is even or odd. These are the two functionalities that you have to write it inside the run method of the first thread. Okay. The second thread will compute. If it is even, it has to communicate with the second thread. Inter-thread communication, right? We have learned in the multi-threading part. Inter-thread communication. Output of the one thread is going to be served as the input of the second thread. So if the generated integer is an even, then I have to communicate with the thread 2. The generated integer is an odd, I have to communicate with the thread 3. right? Even in that corresponding thread, you are having an operation. If it is going to the second thread, generated integers square will be computed. If it is going to be in the third thread, the cube of that corresponding number is going to be generated. Square of the number you can compute using normal logic. Cube, you have some utilities available in the corresponding util package. Otherwise, you could able to write your own content, and make sure that the random integer generation, be careful in selection, because we have some data type issues will come here. Because random integer means you can give there are different types of random number generation functions are there. You can give 0 to 1. That means within that 0 to 1 you can generate a random integer. So you could be able to give the starting range and the ending range. Or if you are going to give generally the random integer, it is ready to generate within the range of my integer range. Integer range, you know about the range of integer, right? 0 to 65535, right? So within that range it is going to generate. So assume that it has generated 65534 34. It is a even number. What it is going to compute, it is going to compute square of the given number. So 65534 and 65534, what it will end up? It will end up with the data type issue. So what is the corresponding data type conversion? You have to do that. So you have to involve some wrapper classes also here that will help us to move forward. If the range is going to come out of the given range, what I have to do? I have to move it for the subsequent long integer. So likewise, I have to think it off and I have to go for the computation. So your primary selection will depends on the random number generation function. Otherwise, you write your own random number generation function. That is also possible, right? So how you are going to generate a number? For example, number 1 to 10 only you are going to consider 1 to 10. So how you are going to print? You write your own logic. Nothing will be there. First number has to come. Next seventh number has to come. Next eighth number has to come. Likewise, you can create your own random number generator function, and you could be able to incorporate this one. But ultimately, the thing has to come, right? So the process of synchronization is happening here. So please remember that the process of synchronization is happening here. Inter-thread communication is happening here, right? So threads are communicating with each other. That's what inter-thread communication is happening here. So it can be given as a very good piece for you to completely enjoy the multi-threading, right? So all the concepts, whatever you have learned in this section, that you could be able to move it forward, right? That's a very good program. Next program is about maximum value. It's a very simple program, right? That they want to test you, that you are going to use generic function. Already we have taught you generic function, right? So you are going to use the data type T, right? You are going to find the maximum value of the given type of elements, right? You try to find out for integer, float, double. For these, just you pass some. So they have not restricted you for two numbers, right? So that you could be able to go for three types of data, T, U, V. Likewise, you create three types of generic one. So T belongs to integer, and U belongs to float, and V belongs to double, right? Otherwise, the same T can be replicated using your functional overloading, that you could be able to move for the different type of data also. So every array, the first array will hold a set of integers, second array will hold a set of double, and the third array will hold a set of floating point numbers. So for these three sets, you try to give the maximum value available in the given array. That's all. A very simple program that will end up in 7 to 10 lines. That's all, not more than that. In that, try to incorporate your creativity there. What you can further expand, right? That could be the major concern. So that won't be a very tough job for you, finding out the maximum number, right? You will be very familiar. But the thing is, you have to incorporate generic function. Remember, not generic class, generic function. What has been given, do it. That is the basic requirement. Further, if you want to build up anything, you can. But the thing is, in all the exercises, it will be verified. Have you completed the basic requirement that was given in the program, right? Then only we will move forward. Okay. Next, question number 11, calculators, right? I want to show you the different types of calculators designed by our people already. Right? See this. First one is the basic calculator that everyone will build, right? How you are going to project your creativity here. That's what the other versions are showing here, right? Could you able to understand? What is the difference between a left side calculator and right side calculator? Anyone can open up your mic and speak. Yes, I think all of you had your lunch, or still you are going to have your lunch. That's the problem, huh? What is the difference between left side calculator and right side calculator? There is a calculator in the center, right? That could be something completely glamorous. Even you could be able to see the orientation of that. That anybody have to tell me what is the layout followed in the first calculator? Anybody? People are supplying answers in the chat. No, no answers in the chat also. Yes. What's the layout? Layout followed is a grid layout. Okay. The right side, what is the layout that they have followed? They have followed two layouts over there. They have combined two layouts. You have learned layout manager in I think probably I think the last two sessions back. I think right. You could have learned that. So these are all the thing. Once if you want to design a calculator, you have to choose your layout first. That layout will help us to place our controls on the screen. What is the purpose of layout? Arranging your GUI components in the screen. That's all. In the canvas, if you want to say very clearly. In the canvas, if I want to arrange your controls, I have to go for the layout. So these type of calculators, if I want to create, that I have to move for my corresponding grid layout. That will help me to come across these types of matrix. Right? I could able to create it very easily. Left side calculator is purely based upon my AWT. Right side calculator is AWT. But what is the thing? There I have based upon directions and positions, I have combined two layouts there. Along with my grid layout, I have combined two layouts there. Okay. So, and one more thing, operations are being get to be incorporated more. There in the left side calculator, I have not incorporated my decimal point, right? The right side calculator, you could be able to see that I have incorporated decimal point. Even in your exercises, even if you come for your exercises, they have combined decimal manipulations. They have mentioned that, right? You have to work with your fractional part also. That's the main thing. As well as this calculator don't have any restriction. You whatever that you are going to design and decide and move forward, that will be applicable. So please remember, right? So this could be the basic calculator that you could be able to design. See, by changing the background and foreground and these types of design buttons are available as a ready-made component that you could able to get it from internet very easily. No need to sit and design like this, right? That will take a time. So the components will be available. Just to download that corresponding DLL file into your JDK folder. By default, you could able to access these types of interesting icons, right? So this could be your scientific calculator, right? So you have to design in this way, right? Normally, how our calculators will work, and incorporate the base also, right? Base means octal number system, decimal number system, as well as hexadecimal number system, right? If you want to give for moreover for see how complex that you are going to create your calculator, that means easy for the users to use. So trigonometry functions, computing the cube, take your scientific calculator that you might have, right? So say check over on that and you could be able to move forward, right? So you have the basic calculator as well as the scientific calculator. You design a single calculator, try to choose the options, right? In what way that you are going to utilize your calculator. So have the options using J menu, you could be able to create these options, right? So once they are going to click that corresponding menu item, ultimately the event is going to happen. That event nothing but ready to display the corresponding type of frame. Already you have created 3 frames. One frame for basic calculator, one frame for scientific calculator, one frame basic calculator with some additional functionalities, one frame that you could able to create scientific calculator with additional functionalities. Likewise, that you could able to extend it over on this case, right? So that is a major point that I want to discuss over here. And apart from this, more section here is mini project, right? Already we have given you orientation. Some of them have received a very tough titles, likewise they have conveyed. Titles may be tough, right? So you try to minimize the complexity over there. No need to go for designing mobile apps. If you have time, you can design. Otherwise, do with the basic Java what you could able to do. That is the thing we are expecting. We are not asking you to launch rockets. What is your capability? Do that. That's what we are expecting. But everything should be on your own. Do not. You can refer the content from internet, but customize it. Don't put the same code. That is the matter here. Don't copy. Don't copy from your friend. Ask them how they are doing. Customize it and do your work. That is what we'll be insisting you to take it forward. Right. See the outcomes what they have conveyed. We see that develop and implement Java programs. They have given some category. They are ready to. The outcome is nothing but are you good enough with these concepts? Can you able to apply these concepts while you are going to design? That is what they are expecting, right? So that's what the complete orientation will lie behind. Okay, so that is the thing. Any clarifications, please post. The next 15 minutes, you are going to write a test, right? I'm going to launch it in the chat box. Without leaving the session, you have to write the test. After writing the test, you have to put the message completed sir or ma'am in the chat. By that, we will be verifying that could be considered as your internal marks for your lab exam, because already have come across a number of weekly tests. Okay, so that's the case. Shall I post the link? I need yes or no. Shall I post the link in the chat? Okay, fine. And here goes your so here onwards in every virtual lab it will be likewise only. Okay, without leaving the session you have to do this. You can open another window and you are going to do it. It will ask you roll number, right? Apart from roll number, don't type anything. Rest of the things are MCQs only. Complete in your pace. Okay. There goes your quiz. You can start answering. After completing the quiz, you have to mention here that we have completed.